What's up, guys? It's Haley here from VCN. I'm here with the legendary Matthew Wood, aka General Grievous, aka all of the Roger droids, and so much more. It's an honor to be here with you today.
Wonderful.
Thank you for joining us here at Spacecon San Antonio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I have a couple questions that I wanted to ask you today since I've got you here.
Absolutely.
Was there ever a sound that you discovered accidentally in real life that later made its way into Star Wars, but fans would never guess what it originally was?
Oh boy, that's good. Yeah, I mean, sound is a lot of happy accidents. I mean, I worked with Ben Burt at Skywalker Sound, who created a lot of the iconic, original sounds like R2-D2 and lightsabers and Tusken Raiders and TIE Fighters and the Death Star and laser swords and everything. So one of my first jobs working with him in an intense way was on Phantom Menace. So he would have me go out and record all kinds of engines, and I remember I was at this where was I? Yeah, I was at this racetrack, and it was this racetrack where you didn't really have to you just have to sign a release that, like, if I'm hurt, it's my fault. And you go out there and you slap a number on the side of your car and run out there and record. And I got some great sounds of this one Porsche, and it had this really high-pitched kind of engine that I'd never heard before. But I was like, oh, this is unusual. What should I use it for? And Ben turned it into Anakin's pod. So that was like that was a really fun one for that.
That's so cool.
And there's just funny things, like I went to a sanctuary in North Queensland, Australia, where we were shooting the episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And I found a sanctuary, and there was a flying fox, like a fruit bat that was there, and there was 2 of them being sort of rehabbed.
Okay.
And it was feeding time, and they were feeding bananas to them, and then the first one that got its banana was like jumping on the other one to try to get the banana from them, and they had this little fight.
Okay.
And I recorded it all, and it ended up being the sound of the Geonosians in the arena battle. Like, a lot of the crowd sounds were like these fruit bats that were like.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's
kind of such a cool story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for answering that one. I've got one more for you.
Sure.
Well, actually, a little tangent. So speaking of animals, as a veterinarian, what I really want to know is, what is your favorite creature in the Star Wars universe?
Favorite creature? What's funny? I really like those porgs.
I love the porgs.
I love the porgs, and I know.
Give me your best porg sound.
There you go. Yeah, it's a few different things. That was a sound designer, Ren Kleiss, was working on that one, and he came up with this idea of, it was a few different things. I think it's even part of a turkey call is in there, and I'm trying to think of the 3 little things that make it. But I love those little guys, and Rian Johnson shot them so funnily with their. And I felt really bad for the one that gets eaten by Chewie, and then their little buddies are like all sad. But,
and they're just looking like.
I know, their faces are so great, and they actually physically built them in the creature shop. So I loved looking at those, and it was a funny necessity, because obviously they were shooting on Skellig Michael, and they had puffins or something. I'm not sure what it was, but there was another
natural puffin habitats that they couldn't disturb, so they had to incorporate it into the film.
Completely.
See, I know that bit of trivia.
That's great. Yeah, and so I love those puffins, or porgs. And you can play them. There's like a VR experience, I think, where porgs come out. Yeah, there's I think some kind of VR AR thing where there's I think C-3PO is part of it, as I recall, where you're trying to sort of wrangle all these porgs in an AR experience. I remember seeing something like that.
That's so funny. Yeah. Okay, one more for you.
Yeah.
When designing a sound, do you ever think about how it might age? Like how fans might perceive that same sound 50 years from now?
Wow. No, not really. I mean, I can barely think about what's happening next week. No, it is funny with Star Wars, because that's the kind of, it's such an iconic thing that people love, and you want to preserve it. So I'm part of the archive team that handles the original material, and so I've had to really be graceful with how we treat that material, because we want it to be, we wanted something, an experience that someone had 50 years ago almost now, to be relevant to what they see today on Disney Plus. So there's that. But then in designing things and making things, I mean, being part of Star Wars always feels like you're part of a bigger thing. It's not about any one of us, and so that it's going to have a life beyond just the moment that you're working on it. And it's also illustrated by the fact we had Revenge of the Sith in the theater again. That was fun to see that.
I was there opening night.
Yeah.
Yep.
so these things have a life. It's wonderful to be part of something that's like that. And but as far as taking on that kind of pressure, I think when we make things, I think we just make it mainly for what is in the story. You know, the script, what the script's calling for, what the director wants, and having it tell a story. And that's what sound really is. It's like this sort of subconscious and more emotional way to experience story and emotion through what you deliver in a soundtrack, because you're not seeing it, you're hearing it. So it has this different way to affect you. And so that's mainly what we're concerned with, is like getting the script right. So that's been our driving force.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time today.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
From all of us here at the Virtual Cantina Network and from a galaxy far, far away, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.